All right. What's up, y'all? It's your main man, BG, Pallet Pros Academy, Pallet Pros, your resident Pallet Pro and mentor, right? And I got a few minutes today, so I decided to write some stuff down on this whiteboard right here and go over a topic of discussion that people ask me all the time, all right? So that topic of discussion is, if I get into this pallet business, how long does it take me to make money in this business? Starting from scratch, all right? So I broke it down into two categories. I broke it down into starting this business from scratch with no mentor, and I broke it down into starting this business from scratch with a mentor, all right? So on this side of the board right here, I know y'all probably can't see it, but it doesn't necessarily matter right now. I'm just going to use it as talking points as we go through this discussion. On this side of the board right here, I have starting a business with no mentor. And on this side over here, I have starting a business with a mentor. Okay. So the first question we have is, how long does it take to make money with no mentor? Realistically, in this business, if you were to start today with no mentor, you can make your first couple of dollars within the first 2 to 6 weeks. You could get your first sale. All right. That's just by being aggressive, getting after it. And you could stumble upon your first deal within about 2 to 6 weeks. Okay. Of being consistent. Here's the problem with that though, right? What's going to happen is, without guidance, most beginners are going to target the wrong companies. Okay. They're not going to know who to go to. So there's going to be kind of spitballing all over the place. They're going to underprice or overprice their pallets or services because you don't have a reference point. So you just might throw something out there to get a sale, and it might be underpriced or overpriced. Okay. You don't understand pallet specifications. So you end up fumbling over simple engagements with customers because you don't understand exactly what they're asking for or what they need. Or when you, let's say you remove some pallets and you try to take it to the pallet yard and you think the pallet yard is going to take all those pallets, but they don't take everything. They only end up taking specific pallets. So that's time wasted. And then most beginners will struggle with supplier relationships, right? They don't have systems set up to encourage good relationships with their suppliers. So those deals end up being one-time deals, or they end up fizzling out. So within the first 2 to 6 weeks, you can make some money in this business. What most guys do is they pick up pallets and take it to the pallet yard and they get a couple dollars. That's something that can happen on your very first day that you get into this business. So 2 to 6 weeks. Trial and error will slow you down, costing you time and money. And then more than likely what's going to happen is you're going to end up fizzling out. Okay. Now, if you stay consistent with it and you kind of go through the bumps and you just learn on your own, within 3 to 6 months, you could be making some consistent money, right? It might not be the best money, but let's say you might have a little route set up. You might have some customers that you do deals with, and you're making consistent money. You might have 2 to 5 repeat customers. You might have reliable sources to get your pallets from, and you might have some stable pricing. But once again, here's the issue. Everything is still trial and error. So how do you know if you're charging the right amount for your pallets to your customer? They might be going with you because it's a sweet deal and they know that it's underpriced, but you're thinking in your mind that it's a good price for you and you're actually leaving a lot of money on the table, right? Once again, it goes back to trial and error. It slows you down while costing you time and money. So within 3 to 6 months, you could have some consistent customers and be making some okay money, right? And in about 6 to 12 months, you could be getting 10K a month net profits, okay? But once again, it's all going to come back to trial and error and you doing everything on your own and not having mentorship and somebody to help guide you in a community that will help guide you. So without mentorship, scaling takes longer. You're still probably going to be struggling on your margin structure, overpricing or underpricing. More than likely, you're going to be underpricing and leaving a lot of money on the table. You're not going to necessarily understand credit terms when dealing with businesses because, see, most businesses don't pay you cash on delivery. They have some type of net term set up. So you might get paid 7 days later, 14 days later, 30 days later, in some cases, 45 or even 90 days later. You don't have a proper grasp on that. You don't have production efficiency. So you don't have systems set up to where you are doing your job as efficiently as possible. Because once again, you're just kind of winging it. You're just figuring it out as you go along. You don't understand custom pallet quoting. And finally, you don't have customer retention systems. So you're always on the cycle of gaining new customers and losing customers because you don't know how to properly service them and keep them. So before I go to the side with a mentor, does anybody have a question? Okay, cool. So the thing is, I love guys that are in this pallet business that don't have a mentor and they don't know what they're doing, because what happens is a guy like me will come in and steal business from you. I can provide a higher quality pallet. I know exactly what I'm talking about when I go into these businesses and I communicate with them. I have a fair pricing structure. I just have more knowledge and information and understanding about this business, and I'm more consistent. So what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up stealing that business from you, or somebody that's knowledgeable about the pallet business is going to steal that business from you. And you're going to continuously be on that hamster wheel of gaining customers, losing customers, bumping your head, so on and so forth. All right. Now, here's the side where we talk about having a mentor. So for the people that are just coming in, my name is Brandon Gamble. I'm Pallet Pro. I have a physical business. I'm in my warehouse called Pallet Pros, and I also do a mentorship platform called Pallet Pros Academy, where I mentor people who are either currently in the pallet business, want to get into the pallet business, or maybe they have another job that uses like a box truck or a flatbed, and they see an opportunity with pallets and they want to kind of get into the business. I mentor people on the best way to navigate this business model and make money. All right. So I'm gonna come over to this side over here. So with a mentor, okay, how long will it take to make money? You can make money within the first 1 to 3 weeks. See, the difference is a person with a mentor and without a mentor is you're actually going to have a roadmap to making those first couple sales versus just winging it. All right. So the first 1 to 3 weeks, if the mentor provides proven prospecting scripts, I provide all those prospecting scripts to all my students. They'll know exactly what to say when they go to a business, how to say it with confidence so you can get the sale. Target industry lists. We provide all of that within the mentorship. So we give you a list of all the types of industries that buy and supply pallets so you can get your business up and running. Correct pricing structure. We discuss how to price your pallets properly. Okay, so you're not undercutting yourself or lowballing yourself and leaving money on the table. All right. We tell you about pallet specs, education. All right. We tell you about the different size pallets. The standard pallet is a 48 by 40. That's the pallet that you're probably going to be dealing with 90% of the time in this business. But there are other pallets out there that different industries use. And we discuss that and we break that down within the mentorship. Okay. So with our proven method, it's not going to be a trial and error. because it's a roadmap that's already been placed out to you that I personally have laid out for y'all. And so what it does is it saves you time and it saves you money, okay? 30 to 90 days, you could be making consistent money, right? So that's 3 months, right? Within 3 months, without a mentor, you're looking at up to half a year bumping your head. So you're cutting your time in half, okay? Y'all see where we're going with this? With a mentor, you cut your time in half because you have somebody that lays the framework out for you, all right? So you could be making some real consistent money within 30 to 90 days. We provide proper guidance on how to set your margins, all right, for your pallets. Supplier sourcing, where to get your pallets from, what industries you can get pallets from. Delivery coordinating, basically that's being efficient, how to set up a proper route, what makes the most sense. So you're not just driving from one end of your town to another, okay? And then follow-up systems such as telephone, email, okay? Physically going to business. You have to have a proper system in order to retain your customers, okay? So you can build 3 to 6 repeat customers within this time frame, all right? That's within 90 days with a mentor. And then finally, you could get to about 10K a month within 4 to 8 months, okay? So with mentorship, scaling accelerates. That's the theme. When you have somebody that has a framework or a groundwork that you can follow, it accelerates everything. So you get to your goals faster. All right. So you avoid underpricing. You're not leaving money on the table. You understand how to properly quote pallet prices. You implement repeat order systems, and you lock in supplier relationships faster. So basically you skip months of guesswork. All right. So that's what it boils down to with having a mentor versus not having a mentor in this business. Okay. I have a ton of free information that's on this Instagram and as well on YouTube. There's plenty of people that have decided, hey, with the information that you already provide, it's enough for me to go out there and start my own business. I don't need a mentorship. That's great. And that's why we provide the free information. And it takes a very special type of individual, a self-motivator, to use the tools that are around them and kind of do it on their own. That's a special individual. But for the people that need the mentorship, we have it here, and it helps accelerate everything so you're not bumping your head. Okay. Now, the only difference with this as well too is if you already have a business, like let's say you do junk removal or something and you want to add pallets into it, right? You might not need necessarily the full mentorship in terms of like the mindset and the how to acquire customers. You might look at it more so just for, okay, where do I get these opportunities from? And I know how to do everything on my own, right? That's great as well too. And we've helped people who already have existing businesses, box trucks businesses, add an additional revenue stream with the pallets. One other thing I want to tell y'all about too is this can be applied to not only pallets, right? But this can be applied to Gaylord boxes, drums, what else? Dunnage, a lot of other things within the warehousing business, right? So you can take the same thing. We teach you how to properly price the stuff out, different tips and techniques to get your business up and running and put some extra money in your pocket. All right. So, hey, no mentor, you're looking at a year. With a mentor, you're looking at about 6 to 8 months, making some real money. So it's all about, you know, how you want to do it and what you want to do and what your why and the reason, you know, that you want to do this for. So let me read some of these comments here. Where is this? All right, cool. Yeah. So I'm actually located in Atlanta, Georgia, but you can check my website out, palletprosacademy.com. Matter of fact, just comment pallet on this post and we'll get you the information that you need. All right. But palletprosacademy.com, palletprosacademy.com. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah. Palletprosacademy.com. But check out the all my IG videos. I got a lot of videos on here, and you could also check me out, Pallet Pros Academy, on YouTube as well too. This is legit, right? Nobody gonna use my identity. Yeah, of course it's legit, man. You look, bro. This is my warehouse. I got pallets in here. Do the research. But I understand, I get you. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fakes out here. There's a lot of, fugazi. So do your research, man. Shoot me a DM. We can discuss it. There's plenty of, check me out on YouTube. Okay, please help me out. I'm trying to start a business. Man, shoot me a DM. How much you charge for the blue and red pallets? Man, I've gotten $10 per blue and red pallet, man. I treat the blue. So basically, man, pallets, if you're talking about just 48 by 40s, they break down into a couple of different categories. The easiest is A grade and B grade pallets. A grades are like perfect pallets, like something like this over here, right? They don't have like much imperfection. Then you got B grade pallets, which are right here. I sell my B grades, man, for like $8 to $10, just depending on the customer. And I mix in the blue and red with those. But the problem with the blue and red is they belong to a company called Chef and Petco, and they're on a resale program. So you're really not supposed to touch them. But if I get the odd blue or red pallet or something, I just throw it in the mix with my B grade pallets and sell them for about $8 to $10, man, to be honest with you. It's all good, Lit You 1000, man. Just send me a DM, man. Timmy boy, I was thinking of starting up my own pallet company, but my area has a lot of competition, five to six different pallet providers. Okay. So that doesn't really mean anything. Timmy boy, you gotta look at it like this, man. There's over 1 billion pallets in circulation. I don't know, it's a whole bunch of pallets everywhere, right? Even if you had 5 or 6 businesses in the area, they can't lock down a city, a town, or anything like that because there's just way too many pallets in circulation. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's room for you to get in where you fit in. You're really not going to know about your competition or anything like that until you get out there and start knocking on doors and test the temperature. So Timmy boy, what I would do if I were you is I would hop in my car and I would start knocking on doors and I would introduce myself to businesses and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a pallet business, or I am starting a pallet business, right? Can you explain to me your pallet situation? And test that temperature, man, and just have a legal pad. Put one side is going to be suppliers, the other side is going to be buyers, and slowly build your list, man, and test that temperature. But I'm almost positive that there's going to be room for you to make some money. How did I start building relationships with my clientele? Man, when I first started, I just went knocking on doors. I knocked on doors, man. That's it. You can't get around that. Knock on doors. I didn't have anything. I didn't have none of this stuff like this. What I did was I put on a clean pair of jeans. I put on a collared shirt, and I went out there and I knocked on doors. I just introduced myself. I said, hello, my name is Brandon. I have a pallet business. I'm just trying to gauge some information out here. Can you please explain to me your pallet situation? And it's going to break down into 2 categories. You're either going to have people that's going to want to get rid of pallets, or you're going to have people that's going to want to buy pallets. And you split that list down in half, and you go and you keep on knocking on doors and you build that list up. And then once you get their need, You don't commit to anything right then at that moment. You say, hey, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I'll be back in touch with you. And behind the scenes, you kind of putting everything together. See, that comes down to that mentorship and no mentorship thing, right? With no mentor, you got to kind of put it together yourself and figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? With a mentor, with somebody like me, I tell you, okay, this is what you're going to do next. This is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to do it. And we hold you accountable. We also have a group of other like-minded individuals who are in the mentorship. And so y'all can bounce ideas off each other, so on and so forth, like that. But just to start it off, man, you got to go knock on doors, build your list up. So look, I think I've been on here for about 20 minutes. I hope I got all the questions answered. If y'all got any other questions, please ask them right now, or I'm going to hop off and y'all can catch this on the replay. What's up, family man? Or Manelli? Top of the morning to you, sir. Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. You know what? I'm going to stay on for one more minute to anybody that wants to ask a question about the pallet business. If not, catch this on the replay. For the new people that was coming in, all we did was talk about getting into this business with a mentor and without a mentor, okay? This video will, catch it on the replay later on to get everything. All right, I'm about to hop out. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll be checking in with y'all soon. Peace.